In my eyes, you seeing victory. We ain't taking L's, death to our enemies. You see the drip on me, you cannot get with me, you cannot stop me. Sit back and watch me straight to the top. When we drop, you better join us. But
You're watching All Access.
Hello and welcome to the 74Z Sports All Access pregame show, sponsored by Park Circle Cafe. For our main man, Sean Williams, producing the show this week. I'm merely Tom Strasser, and once again, I'm truly honored to be joined by my partner in crime, a man who needs no introduction, but we'll give it to him anyway, because he is the voice of high school football, the one and only D-Train, Darren McCullough. And Train, it's week 9 of the high school football season, and what makes this week so special is it's the last home game for Cambridge, Meadowbrook, and Buckeye Trail, and that means it's senior night and an opportunity to honor and reward so many of the seniors who have spent so much time with your program.
Yeah, somebody's going to probably be cutting onions around a few people, because there's definitely going to be some tears shed, tears of joy for, like, obviously the 4 years that these kids have put in. It's just a great honor for them, and to them getting praised and honored at this last home game, the last time that they'll be able to step on their home field and throw on that football jersey. So definitely a lot of emotions probably for all three schools.
Yes, and we'd be remiss if we didn't mention also for the cheerleaders and the ladies and the gentlemen that are in band, as well as some other fall sports that will be honored at their respective schools as well. It's a big night for the seniors, and it's a big night for all three football teams, as we'll get ready and talk about Buckeye Trail, Cambridge, and Meadowbrook. We'll look back at week 8, Train, and we'll look ahead to this Friday night, week 9. And first up, when we come back after our first time out on our week 9 pregame show, we'll talk a little Buckeye Trail football after this timeout. Once again, we want to thank our sponsor, Park Circle Cafe, for taking care of us all year long. And we'll be right back after this timeout.
Hey, it's Heather from Park Circle Cafe. All of us from Park Circle would like to wish our local football teams, the cheerleaders, and the band good luck this season. If you're out this weekend, stop by Park Circle. We have live music all of September on Saturday. This weekend, we have Russ Monkey, 7 to 10 on the patio. Next weekend, we have Randy Gleason and a DJ and karaoke coming in. So stop by for some great food and a good time at Park Circle Cafe. Go Bobcats, Colts, Muskies, and Warriors.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the 740 Sports All Access pregame show, sponsored by Park Circle Cafe and Train. We're going to talk a little Buckeye Trail football as we'll look back at their victory over Strasburg and look ahead to their last home game of the season, senior night against East Canton. But before we do that, we had a chance to catch up with the head coach of the Buckeye Trail Warriors, Donnie Kearns, this week at practice, and get a few words and thoughts of what the head coach had to say himself.
I'm Strasser, catching up with the head coach of the Buckeye Trail Warriors, Coach Donnie Kearns. And Coach, thanks for joining us on the 740 Sports All Access pregame show this week. And before we look ahead to your final home game against East Canton on senior night this Friday night, let's look back to last Friday, a big win on the road against Strasburg.
Yeah, it was a good win for our kids. I tell you, I mean, they made us earn it. We grinded it out, 20-0 at halftime. Ended up getting up 40-0. But you know, our kids say, and you know, they would be the ones that know. They said that was the most physical defensive line that we've seen all year, and I believe it. I mean, they were big, they were physical. You know, they gave us some problems.
And people who have seen your schedule this year, they know that's saying a lot about the physicality of Strasburg. And Coach, 20-0 at halftime, and then second half it was pretty much the same.
Yeah, Mason. I kind of I was a little worried because I thought that if they got score quickly in the second half, then things could start to go back their way. But Mason got a quick pick in the second half and returned it for a touchdown. So that was big. That was a big play. And then after that, we kind of rolled.
And Coach, you had other guys step up again. Charlie Perry defensively, 10 tackles, 1 sack, and a couple of touchdowns on the ground.
Yeah, Charlie had a great game. Probably his. Charlie's been running different the last 2 weeks. So the last 2 weeks probably been his best game offensively, and defensively he's played great all year.
And Coach, you've won 2 out of 3 now, building momentum after that brutal schedule to start the season. Now we look forward to East Canton Friday night. What can you tell us about East Canton?
They're probably the best coach team in the league. Spider Miller's our coach, and he used to be the head coach at Canton McKinley. He's a great coach. So what we do, they like to take it away. I think they're 2-6, but I'll tell you what, they take things away that we do, and they always do. Our tight end wing side or our tackle wing side, he'll have something to take it away. So we have some wrinkles that we probably haven't really shown much of this year, to try to negate his scheme, because he'll have a scheme. I mean, I know he will.
But I know Coach Miller, he knows he's got to take away the run game, but I'm sure you're not going to concede that too easy, are you?
No, we're going to run the football. We're just going. We're going to have to get in some different formations, try to formation them. Players, formations, plays. So we can run our same plays out of a bunch of different formations, and get the ball to the same player. So we just got to formation them a little bit.
And defensively, what will they play?
Probably play what I would call a 50, but they probably call it a 3-4. It's the same thing. But they're going to send 5 at us. We got to make them keep them backers in pass coverage. That's got to be our goal, to keep them outside backers in pass coverage. If they start committing to the run, then it could be a long night for our run game.
And when you look at the Hornets on the offensive side of the football, what do they like to do?
He likes to spread you out and run counter. GT counter is what they run 50% of the time, and then he's got a few pass concepts that he'll run, but he's going to try to spread you out, get his athletes in space, and have them make a play.
And Coach, when you look at their defense, and then offensively, what's a couple of things that you're going to have to do well if you're going to make it 3 out of 4 after Friday night?
Okay, offensively, what we have to do well is we have to get our double teams. We did not do a good job with our double teams on last Friday. Every time we would have a double team situation, we weren't getting it done. I mean, it wasn't good. So we have to get our double teams, be able to run the football and have timely completions. That's what we have to do offensively. Defensively, we have to force turnovers, continue to fly around. We're playing a lot better defensively, and our defensive line has to control the game. Just like anything, both line of scrimmages control the game. It's pretty darn easy to win.
And Coach, every time me and my main man Sean's come out here after a win or a loss, you can hear the energy in the background. I know it's a big game Friday night. It's the last home game, and it's a big one for the seniors as well.
Yeah, that's for sure. We want to send our seniors out the right way. It's about, it's about the kids, and those kids have put in, 4 good years. So we want to send them out the right way. And then also, about the enthusiasm. This is a good group of kids. I've been around teams where we might be 6-2 at this point, and we're down, and kids don't want to come out here. Right now these kids are battling. I mean, we're getting better. I mean, I think they see, I think they see that we're getting better, and the energy is good. That's what's great to have.
Okay, well, Coach, we want to thank you for taking time out. I know you got to get back to practice. Thanks for joining us here on the All Access pregame show, and good luck Friday night. And we'll be here, Caleb Graham Productions, to live stream it and hopefully make it 3 out of 4.
I greatly appreciate it, and thanks for all you guys do for high school sports.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, Thank you, Coach Kearns, for again taking time out at the start of practice to get his thoughts and train Coach Kearns. Definitely pleased with their performance last Friday night.
Well, before we get to that, I want to thank Coach Kearns for a couple things. One, the breaking news last week that he gave us was amazing. I knew nothing about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, so I looked it up, and it was absolutely blowing up.
Who knew?
Amazing. But honestly, on another one, I really appreciate Coach Kearns. The website that he gave is fantastic50.net. If you're a high school football fan, the guy works pretty closely with Joe Itel, and that's always the one that I've went to. This one is awesome. It really breaks down projections, who they think will win each week, and like obviously when you're talking about playoff scenarios, it kind of breaks things down a little bit, who this school needs to be rooting for. So it's a really cool website, really gets a lot of insight on it. So back to the more important things, the game.
Yeah, and Train Buckeye Trail jumped out 20-0 at the half. A game that, I mean, it surprised me talking to Coach Kearns. He said Strasburg, his players said Strasburg on the offense and defensive line were the most physical team they had played this year. That's saying a lot. But up 20-0, you still don't feel comfortable. But the interception by Mason Todd, the pick six, really kind of sealed the deal to start the second half.
Yeah, what a season he's had, especially these last few weeks. It seems like every week he's getting an interception, and he also scored an offensive touchdown. So he's continuing to really be a threat and given another weapon that other teams have to watch out for Buckeye Trail.
And Train, every coach loves balance. Buckeye Trail's relied on Cohen Egan a lot. This game, it was spread out, and a lot of guys contributed on the offensive end.
Yeah, Cohen Egan got his with 89 yards rushing, had a receiving touchdown, but Charlie Perry, who's everybody knows him because he makes tackle about every play on defense, but he had 51 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. Mason Dodd, we talked about him having the touchdown. He added 49 yards rushing. And quarterback Braden Williams had 27 yards and a touchdown. So, again, a lot of different guys crossing into the end zone and scoring for the Warriors, and it's only going to make them better.
Yeah, and you mentioned Charlie Perry on the defensive side, 10 tackles, 1 sack. You heard Coach Kearns there on our little interview with him this week saying that Charlie Perry, he's had a great year, probably playing his best football down the stretch.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a guarantee he's going to be double-digit tackles every game. I mean, that's one of the guarantees. And also, you got to give a shout-out. Brady Hastings did a great job, 6 tackles. And Cole Porter really controlled the middle of that defensive line for the Warriors Friday night. He was a force in the middle at nose guard and really dominated that line of scrimmage. And when you can win up front, that makes you tough, whether it's on the offense or defensive side. And Cole Porter was definitely a force, and Strasburg didn't have many answers for him Friday night.
Yeah, and every coach likes to get a chance to give the youngsters some action under the lights. And the freshman quarterback, Drew McGlumphy, really shined.
Yeah, this kid has a bright future ahead of him. He was 4-4 passing, 51 yards. I know the game earlier this year, oh my gosh, TCC came in and played in the second half, showed a lot of dynamic big playability as far as with his legs, and you definitely could see the few times they threw it with his arm. He can be a definite dual threat quarterback, and I'm sure Coach Kearns is looking forward to playing with that new toy here in the next 3 years after this year.
And Train, we'd be remiss. We talked offense, we talked defense, but you will never, ever forget special teams.
Oh, special teams is a game changer. I mean, you look at Buckeye Trail with Cohen Egan. So many teams kick away from him because they fear him this year. But another man who stepped up on special teams for the Warriors was Tyler Harrell. He was all over the field making tackles on kickoffs, and that third phase can be just as important as any other one. It can change the complex of the game, and he was making some plays and helping the Warriors in their big victory.
And that leads to senior night Friday night against East Canton. And Train, when you look at East Canton, one of the coaching legends in Ohio, John Spider Miller, I forget off the top of my head what school he came from in the Canton area.
Was it McKinley?
I think
was he at McKinley?
it may
That's
have
what I
been
wanna say.
McKinley, yes. But Coach Kearns, a lot of respect for him, and he knows East Canton will be ready to go.
Yeah, they're coming in 2-6 for this big showdown, and they're not mathematically eliminated. Now they play Buckeye Trail this week and then Malvern, so definitely two tough contests for them. But like you said, Coach Miller, and I love the name Spider. I mean, he's going to have his players ready to play, and they're going to be a handful for the Warriors on Friday night.
Yeah, and hopefully East Canton doesn't have a wicked web to weave over the Bill Baker Activity Complex. It's a big night for the Warriors, and we want to wish them good luck. And that wraps up our Buckeye Trail segment. We'll take a time out here.
Before we leave, Tommy, you said senior night, so we got to give a shout out to all these seniors too. So I want to give a shout out to, and I apologize if I mispronounce something or if I omit a number. Omit a player. I know I looked at all three teams' roster, so I'm hoping that I have them all. Braden Williams, Jansen Alloway, Charlie Perry, Brady Hastings, Wyatt Tank, and Cohen Egan. So pretty good senior class there for the Warriors, and definitely some names. If you've seen the Warriors play a time or two, you recognize and know those names. So definitely some guys that are going to be tough to replace next season, but I'm sure Coach Kearns is already molding the next group that's going to take over for them.
And I would never negate our fine seniors. I just thought we were doing it at the end of the show. But no, it's great to squeeze them in during their segment. So good move there. So that concludes take two, our segment of the Buckeye Trail Warriors here on the 740 Sports All Access pregame show, sponsored by Park Circle Cafe. Be sure to get down there. And when you see Heather, thank her for sponsoring our show once again this year, and enjoy the best wings in town. So we'll take a time out, and when we come back, we will talk Meadowbrook football and be joined live in studio by the head coach, the one and only Steve Norman, after this timeout on the All Access pregame show. 740 Sports, all the time. Welcome back to this week's edition of the 740 Sports All Access pregame show, sponsored by Park Circle Cafe and Train. We talked a little Buckeye Trail football last segment, and now let's talk Meadowbrook football as we're joined by the head coach of the Meadowbrook Colts, Steve Norman. And Coach, thanks for joining us here in the studio.
Always a pleasure to be here.
And Coach, I like your willingness to step up here the last few weeks. All season, me and Train have at one point talked about the gauntlet of the tough schedule for Buckeye Trails had to endure. Cambridge has had to endure this year. And you said, hey, fellas, I'm joining that train. You've hit your tough gauntlet coming down the stretch.
Yeah, when you get in league play, I mean, all those games are tough. And then, the teams that we've been playing are all, fighting for playoff positions and, looking for that postseason. So, yeah, I mean, those games are tough, but when you're in a league, and essentially any league, and you're going to play league games at the end, those games are, they're going to be difficult just for familiarity to, the kids that they have. And, the NBL is a good football league, so.
Yeah, and Coach, you got off to a good start. And like I said, still a young squad, guys getting their feet wet. The last few weeks, what has been the biggest difference since early in the season?
Well, I think if you go from, to the beginning of our 3-game slide, if you just look at each game, the common denominator is the line of scrimmage. From John Glenn's ability to control the line of scrimmage, offense and defense, to Coshocton, the same thing. And then, last week, not as early, but New Lex ultimately, gained control of the line of scrimmage. And, ultimately that's where games are won and lost in the trenches. We know that. And we've had moments, where we look like we figured it out. Just New Lex game, for example, on Saturday mornings, when we go in and do film, just the first half alone, there was 68 plays between offense and defense. And we always put together a highlight clip. We had 28 highlight clips just in the first half, whether it be, good offense or good defensive plays. But that also means that there's, 40 clips of non-highlight football. So, just shrinking that gap and continuing to, try to figure out how to control the line of scrimmage, again, both offense and with defense. And when things start to bog down or get tight, can you run the ball? Can you stop the run? And we haven't been able to do that. So.
And Train, let's look into that New Lex game last Friday.
Yeah, the quarter I want to talk about is that second quarter. I mean, you guys, their first drive of that second quarter, they're down inside the red zone. You guys make the big stop, punt it away. Yep. Then they get the ball again. They're driving again. You get the fumble. Noah Farley returns a 70-yard punt return touchdown. Right. You guys have all the momentum at 12-6, and then it just seemed like things just started clicking for them.
Yeah, no, you're right. Again, talking about some of those highlight plays, we get, the goal line stand was as exciting of a defensive series as, I've been a part of for the last, few years. Like it was, the second down play at the end of the first quarter, the third down play. I mean, they're right at the 1 foot line. Like you literally could not get any closer. And then, we have the big play. We do get the fumble, so again, like you said, 12-6, but at the 2:01 mark, and I remember that because as we're going through film on Saturday, at that moment it was 14-12. They had a 2-point lead. We were getting the ball, and at halftime it's 28-12. So in that 2-minute span, we go from having the ball to them getting it back twice and scoring. So it's 28-12 now, and even though you get the ball first coming out of the half, they had seized momentum right there, and then we didn't put a good drive together coming out, and just things went their way, which, again, credit to Coach Board and New Lex. He's been there for a while. They've known success, and credit them. And, we didn't necessarily make all the plays that we needed to win a game.
Yeah, Coach, you talked about that, the 2-point game. New Lex scores 2 touchdowns in the last 2:08 of the first half. It's got to be hard, for your young kids not to be kind of shell-shocked going into the locker room where you've gone toe-to-toe the entire half and then a couple of hiccups the last 2 minutes, and it's like, wow, we're down 2 scores.
Yeah, I mean, and, it's I'm sure you've heard this. It's redundant. They're all coaches. Every play matters, and it does. And sometimes it comes down to, I remember on one of the drives we had, we get a holding penalty that certainly doesn't help us, and then we had a couple drops that don't help us either as far as momentum. But getting kids. The one thing I try to tell older people, kids generally respond faster than we do.
Yeah.
So at halftime, as you're looking towards that first drive, and you try to get across the importance of that first drive. So if we can put together a drive and get some points, it's still a 1-score game. But again, we just we failed to execute on a lot of levels, and again, New Lex, their quarterback pretty elusive. I think you guys saw that. His ability to make plays out of the pocket with his feet, and then their pass rush in the fourth quarter, they were able to kind of pin their ears back a little bit, and when the score got to a point where we had to throw it, they had some pretty good players up front, and they were able to seal the deal.
And Coach, I can tell you, their starting quarterback, all his talent and ability, he gets it from his mom. D-Train can contest to that.
That is
we
true.
know his dad extremely well, so he'd be disappointed if we didn't take a shot at him.
There wasn't a low blow there.
No.
He'd definitely be disappointed.
I guess.
But credit them. They have some weapons. Obviously, the Braglin kid is one that coming into the year everybody's going to talk about. Right. But Kellogg's really stepped up as a running back for him. The Hanson kid's been a good receiver for him, and Schwindeman kind of came out of nowhere, in my opinion. He caught 2 or 3 touchdowns for him, so there's another weapon for him. And then even the young kid they had at running back the right kid that came and replaced Kellogg for a few series. Just really, they had a lot of talent, those skills positions, and really probably kind of surprised you, I think, especially if the right kid, because I think he only had 3 or 4 carries coming into the game.
They honestly, they I think that's where, like, as a program, I think we are heading, just each year. So, if you just look at last year, what they graduated, they had a phenomenal senior group. They had, won the league. They, go into the postseason. And then, some of these kids that maybe you hadn't heard of coming into the season, they just, they have a good set. The coach board has a good program, no doubt about it. And, a lot of those kids that were making plays against us Friday are all, juniors coming back. So, certainly going to be a handful for, I'm sure as long as New Lex is playing football, they're going to be pretty good. But just like you'd mentioned, some of those guys won. Again, just a formation. I'm sure, I don't know if you guys saw it or not. They lined the tackle outside, which we do. Like, honestly, if you didn't have the names on the screen, and just watching two teams play, it would be hard to tell which one was which because a lot of similarities. But the one play they have a tackle out wide, and he's doing a cartwheel while literally he did a cartwheel on the play. But their running back lines up his tackle uncovered, and we didn't identify it. He ran right down the middle they did it, for the big play, right? Which again is a big momentum play for them. And but again, they executed, throughout the course of the game.
And coach, I think defensively, for the most part, y'all had long stretches where y'all played pretty well. And you look at the second half, and really two explosive plays. An offense as talented as them, and it was the 40-yard pass and the 66-yard run. Two plays.
Right.
And like you said, 2 plays can be enough. Mm-hmm. But outside of that, you shut them down from there.
Well, just going back throughout the game, like I said, our defense had plenty of, tackles at the line of scrimmage, string them out for a 1-yard gain, harassing the quarterback. But, when you have those lulls, and again, you try to preach every play, do your, we say you're 111 to, do your job. But when you have those breakdowns, against, athletic kids, they're going to come back to hurt you. And that's certainly what happened.
And offensively, you guys, the passing game's been pretty good with Huey had 217 yards and a touchdown.
Yep.
Nick Norman had 91 yards receiving and the touchdown. And then Cedar averaged 77 or added 77 yards.
Nice.
Yeah, average would be good too. Added 77 yards receiving. So it's nice on that part. And you kind of alluded at it at the beginning. How important is it for you guys to get that running game? Like you said, control the line of scrimmage. Because, in this little 3-game stretch, the running game hasn't been as dominant as it was earlier this year.
It hasn't been. And again, in those times when you need it, and again, I'll get back to, John Glenn's ability to control the line of scrimmage, Kachaukson's ability to control the line. Like when you're not rushing, so part of our game, RPOs and, trying to take advantage of aggressive backers. But when you're not running the football, the safeties and the backers don't have to be as aggressive on the run. So therefore, then they're in your passing lanes. And, it goes hand in hand. Like, obviously we don't mind throwing the ball. And I'm sure Justice doesn't mind throwing the ball. But when you have that balance, so much more pressure on a defense. And I think that's when we're at our best. I think in the past few years, that's when we've been at our best. And, we got to find a way to get back to it. Morgan, much like John Glenn, they run a 3-4 similar scheme, which a lot of teams now are, a 3-man front of some sort, 3-stack or 3-4. But Morgan, very similar to John Glenn, they try to control the run game with their 5 guys, and they're pretty good at doing it. So, their nose is a problem. Their 2 defensive ends are bigger, stronger, athletic kids, and their 2 linebackers are downhill. Honestly, they're John Glenn front 5 all over again. So, and we know what that challenge looked like. So, hopefully we have to play a lot better up front. That's been our message all week. Really the last few weeks is, how do we get better at controlling those? A 5-man box, from a run scheme perspective is, that's what you're looking for. Really, 6 is, still not bad. It's when you get to 7 that you're looking to throw a little bit more. But when they present a 5-man box, you got to be able to run the football. And we haven't been able to do it, and we need to get back on track.
Train, when you look at Morgan coming off a tough loss in week 8 against an outstanding West End team who Meadowbrook will play week 10. You know they're going to be hungry and looking to get that taste out of their mouth.
Yeah, and I believe the Cisse kid had 6 touchdowns, was a school record for West Muskingum in that game. So, we'll worry about that next week.
Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, let's put that on the back burner till next week. But yeah, I mean they're still coming in 4-4, and the kind of I guess not good thing, but could be good thing is like both of you guys have a chance to be spoiler for playoff implications.
Hold it, Train. That's right. That's right. We have gone overtime with Coach Norman, and it's a plus because we just picked up the wings from Park Circle Cafe, and we've got to let them cool down. So let's go OT with Coach Norman. Carry on.
Okay, what do we ask? We asked about being spoiler in the playoffs.
Like we try to tell our kids, though, it's spoiler, but I heard you had mentioned, and just listen, as you look at playoff probabilities and all that, we understand what we're up against, and our week 11 and beyond is dependent on week 9 and week 10. But we have to week 9 first, so. We would much rather be the spoiler than the spoiled, especially for our last home game of the season.
Yeah, and Coach, we've talked with Coach Lake and Coach Kearns, and they've talked about how their teams, they show up every week, win or lose, and upbeat and ready to get on to the next challenge. How has practice been going this week?
I think at the beginning of the season, I told you guys, even last year, when we were 1-9 and really struggling, practices were upbeat, enthusiastic, and again, it could just be in the nature of teenage kids. But the same, we like I said, we're on a 3-game slide, but you would know when you came to practice Monday, Tuesday. Tonight was great, so hopefully it pays off.
Yeah, and that's what's important is having the kids buy into the program and working their tails off for you. That makes your job and your coaching staff job a lot easier.
Right. Yeah, I don't dread going to practice, not once, and I don't think they do either. It's we try to keep it upbeat and fun. Our staff is they're pretty energetic just naturally. So that part's been really good, and we just need to get some type of payoff on a Friday night.
Hey, Coach, give us a couple of keys for you to come out with a big win against the Raiders that you're going to have to do Friday night?
First and foremost, the line of scrimmage they have, they do some formations that are a little unique to them, double tight. They'll kind of do a little unbalanced. But again, just controlling the line of scrimmage, the same message it's been, the last few weeks. And we have those moments of success. It's just, can we sustain it? So that'll be priority number one. The second one is just making sure, like on offense, that we finish some drives. No false starts, no holding penalties, nothing that sets us back. If they stop us, that's one thing. If we're kind of shooting ourselves in the foot, then that's another problem. So eliminate the mental mistakes on offense and control the line of scrimmage.
Coach, in the opening segment, we talked about week 9 being a special night for our 3 local teams. You're all 3 at home, all 3 the last home game, and really special senior night for all 3 squads. Let's talk. We'll let you and Train talk about your seniors and how big it is for them.
I already put you under pressure. We talked earlier. I said, you go ahead and announce the seniors. I have them written down here. We talked about them. We're going to see how good you are.
Listen, as far as our seniors, we only have 6. Corbin Sichna, Ryan Hare, Dalen Rivera, Noah Farley, Zayden Yeagle, and Deshaun Mayle.
He's good, folks.
We only have 6, obviously.
Now, can you say them in reverse order?
I'm probably
Okay, that's okay.
Probably not.
Alphabetically.
but no, seniors, obviously have been a part of the program for going on 4 years, and this being the last home game, that's that'll hit them in their feel good spots here. Hopefully not immediately, because again they're kind of young. That stuff doesn't sink in until maybe the season ends. But they've been a part of your program for so long, and I've had all those kids in middle school, and just so knowing that this is their last home game is it's bittersweet, because you always cherish those moments that you've got to be a part of the development of those young men. But at some point the I can't remember the song, but at some point everybody has to buy a ticket to get back in, and unfortunately they're almost to that point. So, but we love our seniors. As we go forward, our goal as a program is to more seniors, like bigger senior groups. But this year our 6 guys have been great on and off the field, and we're certainly going to miss them.
Well, it wasn't too long ago. I think they only had like 5 kids in a senior group, and that was a pretty good group with Timmy Ferguson.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
that
doesn't happen
solid.
a lot. Generally, the bigger senior groups you have are a good sign as far as maturity and just experience, expectation, that kind of thing.
And the other thing I love, and since you're here, is on those seniors night, all those seniors go on the field and do that senior walk, and of course other schools do it as well. But how awesome is that? Like as a fan, just sitting there and just the emotions that those kids have to be going through at that moment. And it's not just the football players; the cheerleaders are there. The band members there, there's seniors that come out from the crowd that walk with them. Just kind of a cool moment for them.
Yeah, I think, as you're standing on the goal line, and as you said, not just football, but you have all the seniors who are participating in the band, volleyball, cross country, whatever, as they're walking down. It's that moment, my perspective may be a little different from the parents just because I had these same kids in class when they were 8th graders, and, they hadn't really figured anything out yet. Now they're to the point where they're seniors and they're actually planning, hey, next year I'm going to be, working, or I'm going to be in college, or I'm going to be doing this. So that part's pretty cool. And I do like the senior walks. I'm not sure if all schools do that or what, but it's it's a pretty special moment. Usually tough on the parents, I think, as they watch them, but I enjoy that part for sure.
Well, Coach, it's been great having you up here in studio. We know a few times, and we've enjoyed it going out to practice to get you. You haven't been able to make it a couple of times because you get to be a dad. Your daughter plays volleyball, right. Outstanding season, her and her teammates, and Kelly that they're having, and we want to wish them the best of luck as well. But it's great getting you up here, and we want to wish you and your team the best of luck. Friday night against Morgan, and it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, appreciate you guys.
All right, so that wraps up our Meadowbrook segment here on the 740 Sports All Access pregame show, sponsored by Park Circle Cafe. We're going to take a time out, enjoy some of those freshly cooked hot wings from Park Circle Cafe, and then when we come back, we'll talk Cambridge Bobcat football here on the All Access pregame show.
Hey, it's Heather from Park Circle Cafe. All of us from Park Circle would like to wish our local football teams, the cheerleaders, and the band good luck this season. If you're out this weekend, stop by Park Circle. We have live music all of September on Saturday. This weekend, we have Russ Monkey, 7 to 10 on the patio. Next weekend, we have Randy Gleason and a DJ and karaoke coming in. So stop by for some great food and a good time at Park Circle Cafe. Go Bobcats, Colts, Muskies, and Warriors.
Welcome back to the 740 Sports All Access pregame show, sponsored by Park Circle Cafe. And Train, it's now time to talk some Cambridge Bobcat football. But Train, I would be remiss after listening the first 4 weeks, you complain about your Bears. Then they get a big dub, and you say nothing this week about them. Come on.
Hey, I was just excited, and you got here. Sean and I already talked about it. You were the third man here, and we already talked about the big Bears victory. Hey, getting healthy, so I'm excited. Jalen Johnson, Eddie Jackson, Kyler Gordon are supposed to be back, so the secondary is in better shape, and hopefully can pull off a victory against Minnesota on Sunday.
Well, congratulations there. And Cambridge Bobcats, as they head to Week 9, let's look back to Week 8. Against Warren, we knew this was a game that could be very interesting with Cambridge's ability to throw the football. And the first half, Cambridge went toe-to-toe with Warren.
Yeah, and even at one point in the third quarter, they were down 28-21 after Carpenter had a touchdown. So really they again battled with them, and just putting a whole 4 quarters of football together has just been the big bugaboo, unfortunately, for Cambridge this year, because they cut it to 7 there in the third, and then unfortunately Warren rattled off the final 27 points of the game. Just, I mean, obviously it's a learning process with a lot of young kids playing, and they're only going to be better next year for it. But man, when you see so many, like Coach Norman was talking about in our last segment, the positive highlights. I mean, they see these positive highlights, and it just makes you excited and just makes you want to be there every day and for the next week, and then unfortunately in 2 weeks the season's going to be over.
Yeah, and again, when you look at Cambridge and on the offensive side of the football, Garrett Carpenter, I believe you termed it video game-like numbers again.
Yeah, I believe Coach Leak was the first one to say it on the show when he was on here live. But once again, he's a kid that your high school fantasy football team, you can mark him in every week. He's guaranteed he's going to get you 300 yards passing and get you at least 3 touchdowns. And guess what? 315 yards passing, 42 yards rushing, and 3 total touchdowns, 2 passing and 1 rushing. So that young sophomore, he just continues to blossom and grow. And he's, let's probably face it, he continues this the way he's playing. He's going to be rewriting the record books at Cambridge. And that's pretty high praise when the kid who just graduated before he took over was pretty stinking good at QB, and Caden Moore.
Yeah, and you're right about that. And Carpenter, we talked about the video-like numbers, the weapons he has. And again, it starts with the guy that everybody keys their defense around, but yet another big game from Devin Ogle.
Yeah, 8 catches, 125 yards. Well, that's not that good. He had 20 and 345 against East Liverpool. So, but what a great another kid where you can pencil in 100 yards receiving each and every week.
Yeah, and Train, the one thing that Coach Leak has got to be excited because Devin Ogle, he's a senior and he's having a monster record-setting season, not only with Cambridge, but state-wise as well. But there's, again, kids coming back that's been hurt for the Bobcats, and other kids shining in the passing game as well.
Yeah, 2 other seniors. Keaton Kaiser had 8 catches, 100 yards, and a touchdown. He's been banged up some this year. Eli Edwards, another kid's been banged up this year at 8 catches, 53 yards. So they have the weapons, just being able to keep them to maintain it on the field, because obviously football is a physical sport, and they've kind of came up with some ailments that haven't been able to play the whole game or miss a game here or there. And unfortunately, that's the game of football. Unfortunately, injuries happen sometimes, some minor, some serious. And obviously, we hope everything's going to be minor and that all these teams are healthy through the 10 weeks and they can go on and play their winter sport or whatever it is they're doing. But we want to hopefully just continue to be healthy and happy and be successful on the gridiron these last 2 weeks.
Yeah, and Train, as always, give credit to the other team. They practice too. Warren, like you said, tight game in the third quarter. Warren scores the last 21 points, kind of wore down a young Cambridge defense that in stretches played pretty well in this game. And you being the voice of high school football, we talk school records all the time. Well, Warren had one set.
Yeah, you always got to throw praise. Whenever you rewrite your school's record books, you always deserve recognized. And congratulations to Warren running back Landon Fairbanks. He scored 6 rushing touchdowns, set a new school record for them. So, I mean, anytime you get a chance to put your name in a record book for your school, I think that's a pretty high honor, whether it's athletically or academically, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, so Cambridge battles Warren just, towards the end. It kind of got away from them a little bit as they lose to Warren 49-21. And Cambridge returns home for the last time, and they're going to take on a talented Beaver local squad who train right now, setting pretty good in the playoffs. But, Beaver Local, they could lose out the last 2 weeks and still make the playoffs. But if you're Beaver Local, you want to try to amass as many wins, because playing at home, in the opening round is huge for anybody, and that's top priority for Beaver Local.
Oh, yeah. Whenever you can get that extra home game, that's just super, super important. I know, like we said, they're in the playoffs. They seem like they probably have a spot locked, more than likely, but they could finish anywhere from 7 to 16, depending on how these last 2 games go. So they're going to be pretty fired up and ready to play Friday night against the Bobcats for sure.
And once again, Cambridge facing another quarterback who's pretty good.
Yeah, Austin Klein, really dual threat QB for the Beavers, and as he goes. He's a threat as a passer and a runner. He's got some weapons that he can get the ball to, but man, he's pretty electrifying player and a kid you got to know where he's at all times.
And Train, we've seen Cambridge this year. They have put a lot of points on the board here recently down the stretch. We know, they put up 39 points at Bel Air. They put up 54 or 43 points, I believe, against. You got to help me out
East
there.
Liverpool?
East Liverpool, yeah, actually came back and made it a one score game there. Now, Cambridge is once again, they're going to have one of those big explosive nights offensively, and maybe create some turnovers, because Beaver Local, they're pretty explosive, ain't they?
Yeah, they're averaging 33 points a game. And the thing I want to see is this Cambridge team put 4 quarters together. Because, man, you see in stretches the first drive against Union Local, I believe they're week 7. That was like perfection, that drive was. I mean, I think Carpenter was 5 of 5 passing. They had 2 good running plays. I mean, when they're clicking on all 8 cylinders, offensively, defensively, this team is a pretty good team. I know people can look at them, they're 0-8, but man, Coach Leake and his staff are doing a great job. Those kids are playing hard every week. I feel for them. I want them to have the success, and obviously Meadowbrook can relate to them playing the young kids last year, and they're growing this year, and the third year in this is going to be even better than that. I mean, you just want these kids to break into that win column so bad. You're really rooting for them, and they're busting their tails. But man, I just really want to see that one full game where they just are clicking and everything's working for them.
Yeah, in Cambridge, they've dealt with so many injuries, and Coach Leake has refused to use that as an excuse. But that's not an excuse, Train. When you have kids going into the season, you expect to get a lot of time playing JV, and then they're thrust into Friday night, really thrown into the fire. And then you have kids who are looking to play freshman ball this year, and then the next thing you know, due to more injuries, they're thrown in under the lights on Friday night. So, it's been truly, learning through this tough season for the Bobcats. But boy, is it going to pay off down the road.
Oh yeah, anytime you can get, take your hits now, boys, because they may not be there the next year or two. So people can enjoy this as they want it, but I guarantee Cambridge's going to be back next year, and they're going to be a lot tougher. They're going to be bigger, stronger, and faster for sure. And I expect big things, a big marked improvement from this team, because I guarantee they're going to hit the weight room hard this offseason, and they're going to work on just getting bigger, stronger, and faster.
And Train, you talk about the guys coming back next year. Let's recognize the ones who will be playing their final home game at McFarland Stadium Friday night. And this collection of seniors, they had a big part in the success Cambridge has had in the last 3 years, making it to the playoffs.
Yeah, and again, I'll apologize if I mispronounce a name or if I omit one of these seniors. Keaton Kaiser, Bryson Anderson, Devin Ogle, Reed Johnson, Eli Edwards, Vincent Lopez, Taylor Brenton, Tristan Cramblett, Caden Dillon, Frankie, oh boy, here we go. Yakupkik. Is that how you pronounce it? I think we've pronounced the name before, but I don't really remember 100%. And Dylan Hartley. So sorry, Frankie, I probably jacked up your name, but you've been used to it that first day of school. I know with the last name like McCullough, I'm used to it. So it's spelled nothing like it's pronounced. So sorry, Frankie, I probably butchered it, but congratulations to those young men.
Yeah, and we want to wish the Cambridge Bobcats the best of luck at home Friday night. And for Coach Ray Leake and his squad, Coach Leake scheduled to be in studio next week. So it'll be good talking to him about his Bobcats. So that wraps up our Cambridge Bobcats segment here on the 740 Sports All Access pregame show, sponsored by Park Circle Cafe. And we'll take our final time out here as it's been the 740 show on the couch this week. Mm-hmm. And we'll get you set for Friday night and the 3 home games here in the area, senior night in Guernsey County. And we'll talk about that when we wrap up our show here after our final timeout. 740 Sports, all the time. Welcome back to the 740 Sports All Access pregame show. And Train, as we wrap things up, we looked back at week 8. Now let's look ahead to week 9, senior night at McFarland Stadium. Beaver Local will travel in to take on the Cambridge Bobcats. You can hear that game on the radio as well as live stream on your radioplace.com, where you'll get the sweet melatonin voices of BK, Bill Kafuri, and John Valentine, as well in Byesville at Eugene Capers Field. The Morgan Raiders come in, a big conference showdown in the MVL against the Meadowbrook Colts. Senior night there, as well as that game will be radio only. And then out at Old Washington at the Bill Baker Activity Complex, it'll be the Buckeye Trail Warriors welcoming the IVC rivals East Canton Hornets as they will come in to Bill Baker Activity Complex. Once again, senior night there. You can see that game live streamed on Caleb Graham Productions on YouTube, where I'll be joined by the BT Hall of Famer, the one and only Chris Starr. So be sure to tune in Friday night, either listening on radio to hear your favorite team or watch it live streamed. But if all possible, try to get out and honor these seniors on the football team, in band, cheerleaders, volleyball, cross country, all the sports, the seniors that'll be honored. And Train, it's a big night for week 9 of the high school football season.
Oh, definitely huge. Again, like we said, senior night. Last time these guys will get to don the home uniform and on the home field. So just an amazing opportunity to honor and praise these kids for the accomplishments that they've done in their high school athletic career for the fall sports wise.
Yeah, well, that wraps things up here for Sean Williams producing the show and my partner in crime, D-Train. I'm merely Tom Strasser. We want to thank you for joining us here on 740 Sports, all the time. And we also want to thank Park Circle Cafe for sponsoring this week's show as well. And we want to wish everyone the best of luck this Friday night. And take the seniors out on a winning note. I know all 3 teams will do the best they can. And we look forward to seeing you on the field this Friday night.
And you stay classy, Guernsey County.
Have a safe and happy weekend. And thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.